you're going to be happier. So don't worry, just cooperate. And try to tighten the mind. Tighten it so that it, right from now to here, I'm going to meditate and I'm going to concentrate on what I'm doing and stop this nonsense. And you know, not force the mind, but you know, tighten it up so that it stops running all over the place. And when it does run, bring it back. And it runs off, bring it back. And it runs off, bring it back. Until finally it begins to settle. And when it begins to settle, actually this is very nice for the mind. The mind doesn't understand. Actually the mind then feels rested and peaceful, and it's very pleasant. And so once we have been able to experience a state of being at rest, gradually the mind remembers it like that. And then it will become easier. It's mostly in the beginning that there are problems, because the mind doesn't know. It's not used to being told to stay in one place. It's used to running over wherever it wants to run. And so in the beginning it takes a little bit of effort to really keep it where it's meant to be. But gradually it begins to understand that that's a very nice state to be in. And of itself, it begins to cooperate. But this distraction of the mind, as soon as we catch it, it's very obvious. Much more pernicious is the other obstacle to meditation, which is this kind of lethargy or sinking. Now, there are two levels to this. This one is gross sinking, which means that we just feel very tired. Our nuns know all about this one. Every morning they do half an hour of sitting, and I'm sure for many of them, however much we tell them, they regard it as a time when they can just quietly sit there very nicely and go to sleep. And so this gross thinking is that, you know, the mind just basically becomes very sleepy, everything is very foggy, and, you know, nicely sitting, of course. So that's gross thinking. And for many people with very tired minds, this is a big temptation. That the mind now doesn't have to do anything, so it just falls asleep. But this is obvious. This we can see. And how to deal with that is to, well, according to traditional texts, if you are often in sleepiness, then to be in a light place, to eat lightly. It's very hard to meditate after a heavy meal. And to try to brighten the mind. Milarepa, the great Tibetan yogi, in his Namtar, in his biography, it says that he in the beginning he used to sit with a lighted butter lamp on his head. Because, you know, if you've got a lighted butter lamp on your head, you know. So a friend of mine adapted this, and she had a little bowl filled to the brim with water on her head. The same thing, you know, you sit very nicely then. Somebody meditated on the edge of a deep well. You're not going to fall asleep. And so anything you can think of, just to keep yourself alert, you know, and the mind bright. But again, this is fairly obvious. I mean, if we're very heavy and our minds are very foggy, then we know that this is this lethargy and sinking. But what is more difficult to recognize is that the subtle sinking. Subtle sinking means when you get into a very nice, peaceful state, thoughts disappear, the mind is open, spacious, you're just sitting there, and you feel you could sit forever. But the mind is is not alert, it's not awake. It's very, very foggy. And people mistake this for a state of deep meditation. Because no, well, they're not thinking. And the mind is very peaceful, and that's what it says in the text. Your mind should be peaceful, you shouldn't be thinking so much. So here I am, really I'm meditating very well. But actually, when you're really in a state of meditation, then the mind should not only be spacious and peaceful, it should be very, very vivid and clear. I mean, meditation is to wake us up, not to put us to sleep. And so while your mind is feeling very relaxed, totally relaxed, at the same time, the focus of your attention should be very vivid, very awake, very poised. And if it's not, if that focus of attention isn't there, then this is just a sinking state of mind. And it's very bad because we, as I say, we mistake it for a meditation state because it feels very nice. And afterwards you get up and you're kind of wafting around like a little bliss cloud. And you think you're advancing on the path, but actually you're not, you're regressing. And so it's very important for us to be conscious that we have to feel inside ourselves that we're waking up, that we're becoming more clear, more present, not that we're sinking down into this kind of sub-level. And when we finish the meditation, we should feel more awake, more clear, more crisp. The mind absolutely bright. This is very important because it's very easy to mistake the two if we're not looking. Our mind should be bright. So this first stage, as I say, is to learn how to make the mind more peaceful, more relaxed, and at the same time more centered. And so it's really worthwhile working on this.